Hi,
Hi,
how's
everybody.
it going?
Good. I'm just trying to keep warm.
Oh no, is it cold there?
Yeah,
I had
surprisingly.
I had like committed to this sweater because I put my button on it, and now it's actually a little warm in here.
Oh,
Uh, but I love the shawl you have. It's a beautiful shawl. Um,
thank you.
it's so great to be back in your studio again. So Miss Z joined us for our last event in September, which is how we met actually through our friend Shannon, who just won the earrings and that she's going to be getting from her. This is a pair of the same type of earrings that you're wearing right now, correct?
Oh, yeah, yeah. I just wanted to like rock them so people could
They're
see.
so great, and it's good because we can see the size of them really easily on your face as well, or on your ear, I should say.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. All
And they're
right.
like super light. I can't even like feel them, which is great.
Yeah, and what are they made out of? They're woven, correct?
Yeah, so I can like give
Yeah,
them.
let's see them.
So yeah, they're woven. So I have like a little mini loom, which I had up, but because my studio is also like my bedroom, like I can't keep everything out
That's
all the
fair.
time. Otherwise, clutter will be like endless. So, but yeah, it's like hand woven, and then afterwards the back, I just like sew like some um I've been trying to get through my fabric inventory. So this is like scrap fabric that I use to just sew like on the back of it. But yeah, it's like a new
I love
thing I've been kind
it.
of getting into, which I really like. So
And these
yeah,
are in your shop too. So holiday shopping, guys, you can get some beautiful earrings, hand woven earrings. Very cool.
thank you.
So
Yeah.
tell us, what else have you got in your shop right now? I think I saw a beautiful print in there. Uh,
Yeah. So I have what's it? I have like well actually I have it up here.
yeah,
It's
I see it's above your head.
which is like actually a piece that I made back in college during my printmaking days with Shannon, which is where I had met her. We took printmaking together. We took a lithography class together. Um,
Oh,
and
so
then
cool.
this is like the up close
There you
version
go. Yep.
that you could see. But Billie Holiday is like one of my favorite like musicians. For those of you who haven't listened to her, like I highly recommend it. She's
Absolutely.
just like this amazing jazz singer from like the 1930s, who has this hauntingly beautiful, painful voice. Anyway, so I did this piece to kind of like commemorate her with her which if you listen to like her lyrics, like a lot of her songs are about like love and
Mhm.
sorrow and all the emotions, just like any other artist.
Very heartfelt, and it's like good breakup music too, right? Like that's one of the ones I always listen to after a difficult time.
uh yeah, yeah, it could be,
It's
yeah.
like it's like classy breakup music. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone has their preferences, so but yeah,
But yeah, she's
overall,
a wonderful singer. If you haven't listened to Billie Holiday, you absolutely should. And you probably have heard her before because she's her music's everywhere. It's in movies frequently.
yeah, which oddly enough is actually how I discovered her, because I think I discovered her when I watched The Notebook. There's
Oh,
a scene where Ryan Gosling and Amy Adams, I think her
that sounds
name.
right.
Uh, I'm sorry if I got that wrong, but the scene where they're like dancing in the street together on their first like official date, and then one of her songs comes on, "I'll Be Seeing You." And
Yes.
before like even Spotify was a thing or anything, like
Mhm.
I would wait till the end of credits for movies to see like the list of the songs, and that's
Oh
how I found Billie Holiday.
yeah. Yeah,
And
that's so
that's
dedicated to watch the credits. Good for you.
yeah, it's one way. But yeah, so I have that in my shop, and I've been on a textile binge, so not only
Yes. Show us
making
your textiles. We got the earrings. What else have we got?
yeah, I got these earrings, and then I also like I like to crochet too, so I've also made like a line of
Oh,
yarn
those are
earrings
so
too
fun.
in different colors, also on my shop. And then I'll stand up a bit. I've also just recently been doing like some
Oh,
pillows
pillows.
just to like make myself like extra cozy. Uh,
Yes.
so
That time
just
of the year.
some pillows, and like again also getting through my inventory of yarn. So this
Yes.
I've been like combining like crocheting and
Beautiful.
sewing together.
I love how you're using the pillows like in the interview. This is
Yeah, well,
where the pillows go. This is what they're for.
yeah, trying to keep myself cozy. And then something else I recently just finished, if you see like back here, like there's this, I think I might have shown it at the last artist talk, but I'm doing like this Wise Woman series of postcards. Just
Yes.
finished like a new batch of 2, but it's like, oh, here's like an up close, but it's just
Oh,
taking
nice.
like these very powerful like
Is
female
this Frida in this one?
this is Frida, yeah,
Okay, yeah.
Frida Kahlo. So I take like I make an illustration of the woman themselves, and then I just kind of do kind of like graffiti style, like typography of a quote of theirs that I find very powerful. And
What's
put
the
it,
quote on this one? It's a little hard to read just because of
yeah,
the
sorry,
sheen.
yeah. This one it says, "At the end of the day, we can endure much more than we think." Um,
Powerful.
so yeah, and I have like Rupi Kaur, who's a famous poet. I have Maya Angelou, famous writer, and I just did Coco Chanel as well,
Nice.
famous designer. But it's gonna be a growing, ever growing series. But
And
those are
that was a postcard. So are
yeah,
those are in shops as postcards? So
yeah,
send your friend a empowering postcard, guys. Get some,
yeah,
yeah,
just nice.
beautiful.
And also, I really like writing letters, and they're nice to do, especially if you can't see people for the holidays. Then
Mhm.
it's nice to kind of send them a little something, like especially handwritten too. So then which is I feel a lot more personal than on text or.
Right. No, I think so too, especially during this time when we can't connect in person. I have been receiving and been sending out so much more handwritten notes and stuff. This
Yeah.
is the time to do it. It's because you can't see your friend in person, so you can send them a little piece of your heart.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they're really great.
Aw,
But yeah, I will have like an update in my shop because I'm also collaborating with another artisan who works with textiles. Grace Creates, shout out to her. And we're dropping like some holiday bundles that we
nice.
collaborate together around self-care. So they're like these little different packages around self-care that we're going to be dropping on Monday. So yeah, so you can check those out on my Instagram or my website, but I'll have more info for that for later. But
Love
yeah,
that.
that's like my holiday stuff.
Yay.
And
And
I
then we're talking about one of your big pieces today,
yeah.
Night Full of Red and Black.
So as if you've been to the previous like Omni Studio event, I talk about some heavy stuff, so like brace yourself. But there's
Important heavy stuff.
yes, thank you. But yeah, I'm gonna do a screen share for
Great,
this.
let's do it.
Um,
Missy has the best presentations. She is an
oh,
education, a professional educator, and so she puts together presentations for us.
oh, yes. So thank you. I much
Mhm.
appreciate that. Yeah, I was an educator for like about 8 years, an arts educator. So I can't help but put my teacher hat on sometimes.
Yes.
But yeah, so this is if you want to know like a little bit more on what I can't cover in this chat or this forum, then my website is here, reggioameliadesign.com, and my Instagram handle, reggioameliadesign, which I know is also on the Omni Studio website too. So thank you again, Gwen, for doing that. But yeah, so this right now, like I might have mentioned in other artist talks, my artwork is going through a kind of dark spill right now. So that's kind of what's nice of for me as an artist, like kind of going back and forth between being an artist, where my goal is to really I guess in a way to educate and reflect through my art. And lately it's been going like more community based, around more community based themes. And then when I've had it, or I need a break from feeling all the feels, then I go to like my design work, like making my fun things like my textiles and all that. But yeah, this newest piece that I just finished, it's called Nights Full of Red and Black. And it's a mixed media piece actually. So it's a mix of, I'm also a painter too. So the aspects of the face and the hands are all done in oil paint. And then the armor that the the person is wearing is an assemblage of different fabrics, and stitching as well of some chains as well. And yeah, so this piece was something really interesting to work with, and it was a way of using mediums that I haven't used in a way before. So this was definitely an experimental piece, but I'm really happy with how it had turned out. And this was the process of creating it. So just to kind of backwards. So it started off just first as like a sketch in my sketchbook. And in this piece, what I'm going to talk more in detail about it later, but this piece is addressing gun violence in Black and Brown communities, which I'll get into more of the details of that later, but I'll just at least show you the process of how it was made first, at least. But first started off as like a sketch just to so normally with any of my pieces, I started off in my sketchbook, and I do it sometimes in that way because it helps me to figure out like the proportions, to get the right proportions on how things will fit. Because typically I paint on just a white canvas, which I could easily just draw and like erase. But this time I painted directly on this printed fabric, which I actually got on my trip to England like a few years back. So because it's on this kind of like cotton, like this very delicate cotton fabric, I had to kind of at least start off in the sketchbook first to just get the right spacing of where everything needed to be before transferring it onto the fabric, because I found with this one I couldn't easily erase. So I had to make sure that wherever I put my marks that it was in the right spot. And then so after drawing and painting, so this is, I experimented, instead of typically when you paint on canvas you have like a white, or you gesso your canvas like white, I actually decided to start with gessoing in black, which is something I learned from this really awesome artist, Bisa Butler, who was a big inspiration for this piece that I'll share her work after. But yeah, starting it off with black, which was a really interesting way to kind of draw on top of that afterwards, draw and paint on it afterwards, because I felt it, by starting off with like a black background, I felt like it really made the shadows and the brightness pop out a lot more versus like starting off with a white background, which I thought was really interesting. And then the funnest part was actually pinning and deciding on what fabrics to put on the figure, which I was trying to be very decisive actually on what colors I wanted to use and why. And also, well, with the title of the piece being called Nights Full of Red and Black, this person in particular really gravitated towards those two colors, red and black. So I really wanted to emulate that in their armor by accentuating those colors in particular. And so with that process though too, to come up stylistically with like the aspect of this piece, I was referencing to these different artists right here, which if I don't know if you want to take a minute to like kind of see what the similarities might have been that I might have taken from these different beautiful artists, but to go into them. Bisa Butler is an amazing like textile artist who actually also used to be a painter as well, traditionally. And how she like uses her fabric is in such a painterly way, which is really hard to achieve. But she does it so beautifully. But definitely like check out her work. Her stuff is really amazing, and she's based out in New York. And I referenced off of Kahid Wiley, who's a traditional Renaissance painter who's originally actually from Compton in South Central Los Angeles, but based out in New York. And he does this beautiful way of really amplifying like Black and Brown people in the community, like people that he goes up and meets and paints them in this very like royal fashion to just empower the Black and Brown community in such a very beautiful way. And then also referencing to armor, knight's armor from the late 16th and 17th century. And there was this really awesome exhibition at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York of all these really beautiful knight armors created by Jacob Hadler. And yeah, just very beautiful, ornate armor, which I think was made for like Queen Elizabeth's army, I believe. There's more. I'll have all these links if you want to get more into it later. But yeah, just really beautiful stuff. And which then brings me to like the content of creating this piece. So like I had shown in the previous Omni studios, my art is very research based. So because in my art, I really like to not only like tell a story of people, of different kinds of people, but also to relay important messages that maybe are not said very often or shed light on very often, just to get the conversation going and to just offer a different perspective. My goal as an artist is not to, leeway people's opinion to go in one way or another. It's really just me kind of sharing what I have learned in my research. And then if others are curious, then at least, they have some sort of, they've learned maybe some sort of base from me, and then they can like learn more in their own exploration afterwards if they choose to. But yeah, so with this piece in particular, I was kind of comparing the similarities and differences between gangs and knights and kings. Hence, this person wearing a knight's armor to kind of show how a lot of young people in Black and Brown communities are warriors. They're warriors, warriors having to balance these double lives of, their safe haven that they may have like at school or at home, or if they're lucky at home, and then balance out, the violence that they might become in contact with, whether or not by choice. Anyways, but it's heavy. It's heavy, which I feel like not a lot of people like realize. So that was something that I wanted to really emulate in this piece, and to go with that research. Not only in Black and Brown communities, but I also found a common thread in all kinds of other cultures as well. So looking at all these resources that I've gone through, like of different books and different documentaries, and also just on different films as well. I have found like just a common thread of how the similarities between knights and kings and gangs is, this mission to sustain your honor and sustain your honor, and also like a kind of like a tribute to your manhood, which comes at a risky price in some regards. But so this, I won't go too much into detail of this person because I want to protect their own privacy and their family's privacy. But this piece is to commemorate a student of mine that I had at Oakland High who passed away this August, unfortunately. And this is why I named this piece Nights Full of Red and Black. This is Miss Koshino, if you're tuning in, who was my old coworker at Oakland High and also a teacher of this same student. This is a piece that he did for her in her class, which is a piece that students were asked to make a piece that was supposed to let their viewers know, like, okay, if you really knew me, then you'd know what this piece was about. So this is what he created, which is a night's full of red and black, street lights glowing in the back. I stand alone, with his picture on it. So both Ms. Koshina and I, we both got to really know this student pretty well at different levels. And he was a really beautiful person. And sorry. He he struggled, you know, to sustain, to do well in school. As you can see, this passage that he also wrote to on his senior year of noting how, you know, he tried really hard to achieve academic success. So, you know, he can go to college afterwards and all that. Like, he had the goals set up. He chose to make these goals to set himself up for a really awesome, bright future. But unfortunately that was taken from him. So this is where I just give the notion to how, you know, how it's a balancing game. Unfortunately, it's a balancing game, especially if you're coming from a community that's, you know, rough around the edges. I mean, Oakland is a very special place. Like, and it always will be a special place to my heart. Like, it has its reputation for, you know, not being so great, but you can't be so quick to judge if you haven't been there, is what I'd have to say. Like, because having worked there for like 4 years, like, you know, it has a very strong sense of community, and a way of kind of protecting the Black and brown culture there. But then also with it does come with its burdens too, that happen either within the community or also caused from outside the community. Which creates tension, which creates a lot of tension within the community too. So, which is what leads me to, you know, using this special person as a, you know, model to, well, not only like commemorate his life, and then other young people's lives who've, you know, unfortunately fallen in this same short ending, that they're to commemorate and let his spirit live on, is to just remember the amazing things that he himself did in his community. Like, even though he, you know, tried his best to be a good student sometimes, he meant a lot to his community. He was a leader to his friends, and encouraged his friends to also do good in school, even if he wasn't doing the best all the time. He was close, you know, with his, you know, a few of his teachers and certain staff members at the school too. Like, he was definitely like in the forefront of you know, of protecting his community as best he could. And I think what makes him an even more like valiant king, which I'll get to in a moment with this organization, the Kingmakers, what makes him a valiant king is where he stood in between the two worlds that he was struggling to sustain. Like, so what I think what makes him so great is where he stood his ground in the middle of trying to not let those two worlds bleed into one another as best as possible. Anyways, so so with when I make these pieces, when I make these types of pieces, I have to say, like, I I feel like personally me, like as an artist, like because a lot of the powerful stuff I make, I personally don't feel super comfortable like making profit off of these pieces in particular. So what I do is I have 100% of those proceeds go back into the community. Like what I did in the previous Omni Studios. This one is gonna go to an organization that I think this person would have also really loved being a part of.
Yeah.
The Kingmakers of Oakland. So what the Kingmakers of Oakland do, they are a nonprofit organization based in Oakland as well. And what they do, it's both run by youth and by teachers and by like other artists. And they are a really lovely organization that just teaches teachers, but also teaches artists and also teaches young people on how education is power. And they do these really awesome, like, especially since it's during COVID, they have a lot of really amazing online resources for anyone to access, whether on social media, on Instagram or on Facebook or on their website. And then on top of that, they also have a Spotify too, which is under Kingmakers of Oakland, where they have youth like express their frustrations and feelings that they might have into art, both like majority mainly like musically, but then in also other forms as well, whether in art or writing or what have you. So they are all about just mobilizing youth to have the young people teach the young people, and also have the young people teach the older people. So it's just this beautiful exchange amongst everyone, teaching everyone, versus just only having the adults or older people teach the younger people. Like, no, that's not how education should be done. Like, it should be an equal exchange amongst everybody. That's what really makes like real progress and real change. Anyways, thank you.
I agree. That's so powerful. So we have information about all of this. There's a link to the Kingmakers website on our event website. And then you've also done a blog with more information about this topic, and we've linked that as well. So yes, definitely go and check all of that out. It's wonderful work that you've put together. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. It's so personal and so powerful. I really appreciate it. It's beautiful.
Thank you so much. And thank you for organizing this again. Thank you everyone for listening. I know I go off a little bit sometimes, but I appreciate
It's important stuff. It's important stuff. So with that, let's what's your holiday tradition?
Oh, eating a lot. So we celebrate 2 holidays. So my dad's side, he's Jewish, so we do celebrate Hanukkah. My mother's side, we celebrate Christmas. So both holidays always consist of a ton of food. So
As they should.
always ending in food comas. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, how cool. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of that with us. And I know it was a little while back, but she's got beautiful, beautiful holiday items in the shop. So definitely go and check that out. That's all on the website. You can go and find the links from there. Thank you so much, Miss C.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Hey, thanks for watching. For more videos like this, go to the link here. And to support us, you can join the Patreon by going to the link below.